It's another edition of Time About the Movies. We're starting a brand new month with August 2nd, 1991. We got 4 movies to look at today, so let's not waste any time. Let's just jump right on into it. And we're going to start off with not only the top grossing movie of the weekend, but probably the best movie released this weekend overall. In fact, I can say for certain that this is the best movie released this entire weekend, and that is Hot Shots. The Top Gun knockoff starring Charlie Sheen that was intentionally supposed to be a parody and funny. And, yeah, like I said, it's a parody of Top Gun, and it's really funny. It's done by the same people that did the Naked Gun movies. It's done by the same people that did Airplane. I mean, these guys, the Zucker brothers, Jim Abrams, Pat Proft, these guys know how to make comedy, and it shows in this movie. This is what most spoof movies that came out of the time failed to do. I mean, they just don't have those movies that we talked about, stuff like Repossessed, those movies like that. They just don't have that same spoof mentality that the Zucker brothers had at their peak, and these guys as well. This movie definitely shows why these movies work with these guys involved. They know exactly what's going to make you laugh. They know what parodies to do and how to do them the right way so that they are funny. There are a lot of good parodies in this movie, not just the Top Gun, 9.5 Weeks, The Fabulous Baker Boys, Dances with Wolves, Marathon Man, Rocky, Superman, Gone with the Wind. All of those are in this movie, and it never feels like they're cluttering it up and just doing stuff at the wall just to get a cheap laugh out of you. Everything they do in this movie is absolutely hilarious. This is one of the funniest movies you will ever see, and it's as funny as the Naked Gun movies, and it works because of the great cast they have involved here. Charlie Sheen proves that he can be a really funny guy when you give him the right script to work with. You have Carrie Elways in here, Valeria Golino, John Cryer, Kevin Dunn, Bill Irwin, Lloyd Bridges. It's just so hilarious. You'll be quoting so many lines from this movie alone that it's honestly better than Top Gun. I mean, it really is better than the movie that they're actually parodying, honestly. It's a movie that still holds up a lot better than the original Top Gun, in my opinion. And like I said, it's just so funny. There are so many great moments in this movie that just work so well. I mean, this was such a good, fun movie, and it's just like, yeah, like most spoof movies needed to take lessons from the Zucker brothers and Jim Abrams and Pat Proft and these guys, because they clearly know what they were doing, and they know what makes a good laugh in a movie. So, yeah, I don't think I really need to say anything more about this one. I don't even need to tell people to go see it, because chances are you have already seen it at this point, and you also probably think the same thing. Hot Shots is a pretty hilarious movie, plain and simple. So, with that said, let's go ahead and move on to another comedy that's very funny, too. It's Michael J. Fox in Doc Hollywood. It's like Cars, except it's actually funny. Yeah, you could definitely tell this movie took a lot from Cars. I mean, Pixar will keep saying that Cars was not ripping this movie off, but come on, man, this was clearly ripping off Doc Hollywood. I mean, there are so many similarities to Cars and this movie that to say that you didn't take anything from it, it's just like, just come on, man. I mean, the first Cars isn't even that bad of a movie, but come on, man. I mean, you really didn't even try to cover that one up, but enough about Cars. We'll get to that one whenever we get to 2006, but let's talk about Doc Hollywood. And then, yeah, Doc Hollywood is a very funny movie. It's Michael J. Fox doing what he does best. This cast overall is great. You have him, you've got Julie Warner, you've got Bridget Fonda, Woody Harrelson, David Ogden Stiers. Just this exceptional cast that just works off of this so well. It really does feel like a movie that takes place in the world of a Frank Capra movie. Like, this is something that I think would take place in the world of something like It's a Wonderful Life and something like that. And it is a really good movie. It's a funny movie. It's a good love story between these characters of Michael J. Fox and Julie Warner. It's a very funny movie. It's a very funny film that doesn't rely too heavily on being something unique or different. It's just a good, fun time all around. It's a movie that just really, it works because of how well the cast works off each other. It works because of how funny the script is. It works on how well the script is. And again, just the actors that you get in here to make this work, and it really does work. It's a really fun film all around. And And yeah, like I said, it is just a very funny movie all around. I thought I had some more to tell, but really I don't. I mean, Doc Hollywood, it's another one of those movies where you go in, you have a good time with it, and it leaves a good impact on you after you're done watching it. It makes you want to see it over and over again, and it really does work. It's a fun movie all around. Need I say more about it? Doc Hollywood, great movie, just a ton of fun. So, with that said, let's go ahead and move on to the next movie, and that is the horror thriller Body Parts, starring a pre-Lawnmower Man, Jeff Fahey. Oh, so that's where The Simpsons got the idea for Hell to Pay from. I mean, that's pretty much the same plot as this movie, except replace the the arm of a serial killer with the hair of a serial killer. I mean, it's pretty much the same plot, and of course the serial killer is played by Brad Dourif. Why wouldn't he be? I mean, yeah, this is a weird movie. I mean, it's a movie that seems simple enough, and maybe in the right hands you could have had something very grisly and very fun, but it's a weird movie. It's a movie that just doesn't really... I don't think they really had a good idea of what they wanted to do. I mean, there is some interesting ideas here, but overall the acting is pretty mediocre at best, and the ideas of having a serial killer's arm through a transplant could lead to a lot of good moments, good ideas, and interesting situations, but the movie never really does anything like that. I mean, it tries its best. It's a movie that has a good premise to it, but they don't really do anything with it. It just kind of veers into the typical horror movie cliches that we've seen over and over again. It's a movie that could be very interesting, could be very unique, but for what it is, it's a film that just doesn't really work as well as I think they wanted it to. I think there are some good ideas here, just the execution doesn't work very well. It's a shame, too, because there is a lot of potential with this. And for Jeff Fahey, there'd be a better success for him the year later when Lawnmower Man came out. So, with that said, let's go ahead and move on to the last movie, and that is the sequel that everybody has been wanting to see. I know that we've been demanding this sequel for so long, and they finally made it. Return to the Blue Lagoon. Oh, by the way, I was being sarcastic. Nobody was asking for this sequel. I mean, the original Blue Lagoon was an unexpected hit, but that impact that movie had did not last as long as people would want to think it is. Plus, that movie itself is not even that good to begin with. I mean, it just really isn't. You just want to watch two young people in their teens falling in love with each other on a deserted island, and you don't really get that with that movie. And the worst thing about this movie is that it's the exact same plot as the first movie, except done worse. I mean, okay, so this supposedly takes place after the events of the first movie, which really makes no sense whatsoever, and it just... I don't know, man. This whole movie just is such a gigantic mess. I mean, the first movie at least had some likable personalities to it with Brooke Shields and Christopher Atkins. This is just a mess all around. Like, it's bad enough that you have to do the same movie over again, but you add in these new ridiculous, stupid elements to it that make it even worse than the previous film. It also doesn't help that Mila Jovovich is in it, and if you've been following my stuff over the last couple of years, you know that I really do not like Mila Jovovich as an actress. She tries way too hard to be taken seriously. She's not a good action heroine. It's with the Resident Evil movies. I just don't like her as an actress overall. I mean, she's probably a nice person in real life. I mean, she's probably a good person in real life, but as an actress, man, she's just terrible. I mean, and this movie doesn't help her out a bit, but then again, it's not really her fault. It's just the idea of doing another Blue Lagoon movie where you do absolutely nothing to make it interesting or exciting, or just do something clever with it. It just doesn't work at all. It just rehashes the same movie from the first time all over again, except does it even stupider with new elements that make no sense whatsoever compared to the original film. I don't think I need to say any more about this movie. It's a disaster on so many levels. It's a movie that shouldn't have been made. They made it, and nobody went to go see it because audiences were at least smart enough to say, I'm not spending money on this. It's just like, yeah, this movie's just awful, man. It's an awful, awful film. Return to the Blue Lagoon. Just don't go. Don't return. And so on that note, we wrap up another edition of Time About the Movies. The next time we meet, we'll wrap the week up with 6 more movies, including Jean-Claude Van Damme in a dual double role in the action thriller Double Impact, Danny Glover and Martin Short in the comedy Pure Luck, one of the most questionable dog movies you'll ever see, Bingo, John Candy in another very underrated comedy, Delirious. We also have Paris is Burning, as well as Crossing the Line, so we'll look at all 6 of those movies next time we meet up. So, with that said, thank you guys for watching, and if you want to see more videos like this, check out the page for the previous episode, check out the playlist for this year, and I'm so confused right now. I will see you guys tomorrow for another episode, so thank you for watching. I'll see you folks tomorrow, and until then, take care.